Eve 6, you guys got signed. Well, you were still in high school.
Yeah.
And, you're 16, 17, writing songs and don't really know what's going on. I mean, how did you guys even get discovered by a label?
Well, we were, we were playing backyard parties, like that type of thing, all ages venues, wherever would have us, basically. We started playing our sophomore year of high school. So there were a few like coffee shops and like all ages venues that we'd play at a lot. Cobalt Cafe was one, Eagles Coffee Pub in North Hollywood. There was a place called the Natural Fudge Company. I think it was on Melrose. I don't totally remember. And we did a show there, all ages venue. A woman came up to us afterwards and she said she did A&R for an independent label out of Orange County called Dr. Dream, and that she really liked our set. And we were like, oh, that's cool, And she invited us to come down and like meet the label and stuff like that. And we did, and they were like the label where guys from seminal Orange County punk bands went to die, basically.
Okay.
It was like they had Joe Wood from TSOL's new band.
Okay.
Steve Soto's new band, Cadillac Tramps, I think, from the Adolescents. There are a couple others like that. They had a band called The Grabbers who was really good. I think the president of the label was in The Grabbers.
Okay.
They offered us a deal. We were like, sure, So we signed a deal with this little punk label from Orange County. Started making a record with Steve Soto of the Adolescents, R.I.P., producing. We got through, I think, tracking drums, and the label had coordinated this interview for us to do with a syndicated show called Radio Asylum. So this woman named Jennifer Harold came. We did this interview with her. She recorded like 4 or 5 songs, full live band, and she was like, you guys are really good. Can I manage you? We said, sure. And she knew an A&R guy at RCA, sent him this live recording of ours that I'm sure was terrible, I'm sure, really bad. He heard something in it, flew out with another A&R guy, and we played a showcase for them that was, again, really bad. Like, our drummer dropped sticks. I remember being mortified after this, man, we just blew it. But they offered us a deal. They offered us a record deal, bought us out of the Dr. Dream deal, and we signed a deal with RCA our junior year of high school.
God.
Yeah,
that's
nuts.
insane.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if this is true or not, but it was like you guys kind of struggled being signed with RCA in the beginning, and they were just kind of like, these songs are not good enough. You guys need to keep writing. Da, da, da. So like, at what point did you wrote the Heart in a Blender song, and then did you like give that to them, and they were like, oh, this is gonna be it? Well,
so we did like another showcase thing, or basically just had a rehearsal where our A&R guy came out to hear what we'd had. And when they signed us, it was with the understanding that we would finish high school. We wouldn't go in to make a record right away. And I think they wanted to see if we would turn into something they could sell, basically. So he came out. This would have been, I guess, we would have been seniors in high school at this point. He came out. We played for him at Fortress Rehearsal Studios, which might even still be there on Highland. And he took us out to Musso and Frank's afterwards.
Yes.
And I'll never forget, like, he was just like, it was such a bummer. He was like, you don't have the songs. I don't know where you fit. I see you falling through the cracks. You don't sound like the radio right now, all of that shit, right? And he was like, I'll give you a little bit of money to get these songs off your chest, And they did. He gave us like a couple grand to record a couple songs. Our drummer, his dad is a famous record producer, our old drummer. A lot of people think we got the deal because of him. He wasn't in the band when we got the deal.
Okay.
So he came later.
Okay.
But he was a famous record producer, had a studio. So we didn't have to pay for a studio.
Oh, nice.
we hired this guy named Don Gilmore who had engineered some big records but had never produced a record that had done anything. But we liked the way a record that he produced that didn't do anything sounded. A band called the Cunninghams. We hired him. He flew down here, slept on his brother's sofa, and we recorded 3 or 4 songs with him. One of those songs was the Heart in a Blender song, which that A&R guy had heard in the rehearsal room and, said you're falling through the cracks or whatever. But granted, it was after Don had gotten to it. We'd cut out like, I don't know, 25% of the lyrics that were in there. It was like a really fucking long song.
Okay.
Don did some things to it that made it far better. One of them is the weird chord before the chorus.
Yes.
So yeah, and our guy came back, heard that, and was like, "Oh, okay, all right." I remember he said, "It sounds like you put the kitchen sink into this." And we were like, "I don't know what that means, but it sounds like you like it." So he gave us more money to finish the record, and we did. Yeah.
God, I don't know how you could hear that song and not know that it was going to be like a massive hit. It's like an instant.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was writing it, when I would just be like playing it in like the dining room at my parents' house, like my mom would always say, "Play that one again."
Yeah.
And my neighbors would come over and say, "Hey, play that Heart in a Blender one." Like they just hear it out the window,
Yeah. It's like catchy from the first time you hear it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's one of those songs, for whatever reason.
Just comes
it's got that
to
thing.
Yeah. Like those songs are just like magic, I feel like they come from the ether or something.
Yeah, they're weird little cosmic gifts that, some people can just willfully write a hit.
Yeah.
I obviously can't, or I would have written a bunch more. But I was handed that one, and
yeah, but Here's to the Night did well.
Yeah.
You've definitely had a lot of other songs that charted and, did pretty good.
No, totally.
It's just when you get a song that's a monster, it's a curse and a blessing.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you're always chasing that, and it's really hard. Like, I see it happen to so many bands.
Yeah.
It's like Portugal the Man, Feel It Still. How are you ever going to fucking top that
No,
song?
totally.
Can't.
It sets up an insane expectation that often is just impossible to meet for a host of reasons. I think part of it for us on our second record was we put out this standard tuning Duran Duran inspired pop rock record at the height of nu metal.
Yep. Yeah.
Testosterone rock,
Totally.
So it was just, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had to play shows with all those bands. It was a nightmare.
Oh, God.
Thanks for watching. For more 7 Words Podcast, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.